suspended the Twitter accounts of alt-right figureheads and organizations.
Okay.
Oh, I heard about that.
In this article, in particular, they talk about Richard Spencer and the NPI, the National Policy Institute, which purpose is dedicated to the identity and future of the people of European descent in the United States.
Okay.
So it's like the
White
NAAWP.
Yep.
And they're trying
National Association for White People.
And they're trying to stop Frexit.
The Frexit?
Uh-huh.
Who the fuck? Who's Freg? And why is he exiting?
The French elections.
Oh.
Remember last time we said that's the third one.
We got the French Pepes coming out.
Oh. So Twitter is stopping these people.
Okay.
So I have two opinions that are conflicting with each other.
Yep.
First, my free speech button goes off.
Yep.
Because no matter how much I disagree with what you have to say, that doesn't change the fact that you have a right to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And if my opinion is worth a damn, I can defend it and counter whatever your point is.
Yep. On the other hand,
it's a private enterprise, and they have a right to deny.
I have a story on this exactly like this.
So my two sides are conflicting. Ultimately, I guess it's a private enterprise, and they have a right to deny what they want.
That's where I sit on the issue.
But
aren't you on the other side of that, where the Illinois law, where private enterprises can't choose who they do business to because
Indiana.
Thank you.
And I'm not
one
on
of
the
the
other
I
side
states
of that.
I don't care about.
We had that discussion.
He's had that, but then it was the emergency worker or public funding.
My problem was with the law as written.
Okay.
As written, it allowed a lot of people to do things that I don't think that they should be able to do because they were contracted, they had taken money, they worked for a government organization like a hospital which was contracted for emergency services. Anyway, it was those things that I had an issue with.
And then he said if you're a bakery that doesn't want to make a cake for gay people, just don't say you're not making the cake because they're gay.
Then you're discriminating, and discriminating is wrong.
But as long as you don't say you're discriminating, you said you were fine with it.
But that's what Twitter is doing.
I just said ultimately
it comes down to it's a
private business. They can deny coverage.
Is that the story? I assume?
Well, that's the story. It's an interesting thing. It's getting a lot of press, especially after Facebook and Google have changed their policies so that they're
AdSense. Right. So they will no longer serve AdSense to sites that are deemed fake news sites. Which
so
I had
CNN, MSNBC.
Well, and that's where I had the same moral dilemma he had. It's like they're shutting down freedom of speech, even if I don't believe in whatever those people are saying. But then again, I ultimately land on it's a private organization.
Well, I actually had that conversation with someone else. Switch to Bing then.
Yeah. If you have a fucking problem with it.
Wait a second though. But freedom of speech is protected
whether or not
you're a private organization or not. Okay?
Yeah.
So if I own my own business,
yes.
Right? So it's my private business, not even a public one.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell my employees what they can say.
Unless they are representing your company. Because we've had this discussion.
With the happy
right.
If I'm wearing a jacket with your company logo on the back, Richard and I cannot make out on the corner if you find that offensive because we're representing your company. If we're not wearing jackets with your logo on the back, then we can make out on the corner all we want, and that's fine.
Or I can come in in your uniform with a sign, don't eat here, this place fucking blows dick, you'll catch AIDS. So,
but you can't do that because you know what I mean. As long as you're not identifying yourself, like Tim, that's one of the reasons he always made sure he took off his uniform or was wearing a jacket over his uniform shirt.
Yeah, well, because at that point you'd be representing your business.
And
my boss said the same thing to me when I first started working at the restaurant. And we got shirts that said the restaurant name on. He said, "These are for you. Don't fucking wear them in public when you're doing shit." So, okay. Alright, no problem.
Because that's where you run into trouble.
Yeah.
Right, now, but these businesses are for public expression. So they're not banning a Twitter employee that says, I work for Twitter in their handle and saying that you can't say it. They're saying a public person doesn't have the right to say what they want.
No,
On
they're saying
their
a public person
platform.
doesn't have a right to use their platform. And in the case of Google and Facebook,
Well,
they're
in
saying,
Google and Facebook,
we're not
that's even
going
better.
to sell you ads.
We're
We're not going to sell you ad space.
We're not allowing you to run ads on your page to get money from having the ad space
Right.
run on your page.
Well, because it turned out that there were a bunch of news stories that were created by a bunch of Macedonian teenagers
Okay.
who learned that if they posted outrageous headlines,
They get tons of hits.
like the story that the Pope endorsed Trump. They made that one.
And then they go and pay, then you can boost your, like, because I run a website and I've done sponsorship where I pay to advertise it, and that'll just increase your views. And, like, you'll see on your Facebook feed sponsored, it'll say right next to it. You'll see that, and they won't allow them to
Well,
do
and
that.
see, I
Right, but how do you know if it's fake?
Well, you should double check it.
and
I'm
you
saying-
would think that Google and Facebook would have the facilities to do that.
Well, the thing is, we all have the facilities to do that.
Yes.
The problem is people never verify something before they say it.
but this is besides that. I mean, let's just talk from Google and Facebook's standpoint, though. So they're going to have to prove somehow that a news story.
They don't have to prove shit.
They don't have to prove shit. They're a private business.
They can choose to say, and this was my slight problem.
They
with
can
it.
say you have to prove you're legitimate before we run your.
They could do the same thing to
stuff.
CNN. They
And
could
then
stop letting them serve it.
And there's
Not
also
that
been
they
things where
have to.
people saying where Google, they'll take, like, whatever bias that they want to push, they'll list it at the top and push
well, they've been
doing that
whatever
for
Well, that
results
came
they
out as
created.
like that was legit. That actually
Facebook
happened.
does the same thing.
Right.
Well, that was it. Facebook posted. They
Liberal
have
stuff
clear
first.
liberal bias.
Right, well,
so it was
like
either liberal stories or shitting on the conservatives.
Like on
that
the
would
right
hit their
side,
top.
the stuff of what's trending.
Which
like
is not actually trending.
Right. And
It came out that they had story curators or something, which actual people handpicked the stories that went up there, which is not trending. That's not what it. That's not what it is.
Well, even if that is the case too, because I seen it like where there'd be shit like 24,000 people talking about, then you go down and down. Well, there's 50 people talking about this. Why is this so far down compared to that?
Mm-hmm. But and that was the difference between his Twitter thing is they straight up closed accounts. They stopped them from using their service. Facebook isn't doing that. They're manipulating it so that if you want to do it, it has to be fucking passionate for you, or you really have to care, because you're not getting money from those ads. You're not making a profit or even cutting even because of the money you're making there. But you can still use their platform. I agree more with, well, then there's no advertising on Twitter, so they don't have an option like that. But I agree with Facebook and Google's approach to it way more than Twitter's, which is just, you can't use it. You no longer are allowed to spew fake news or hate speech or whatever you want, whatever it is. I agree with it because, once again, they're a private organization. Actually, is Twitter public?
Twitter's, as long as their board says it, it's still a business entity.
Yes. But yeah, I was going to bring up the Google and Facebook thing because I saw it a couple days ago. But in the end, they're private organizations. They can stop people from saying what they want on their platform. Just go to MySpace.
Said no one ever.
Like,
Go to not Pinterest, but does
Instagram. Vine doesn't
Snapchat.
exist anymore. So Snapchat. There you go.
Go to Reddit.
Well,
Go to 4chan.
Yeah, go to 4chan. There's plenty of places
You'll
to
be
try and
drowning
get your
in the whole,
message
right?
out. Yeah, you will.
Well, the problem is.
Oh yeah, you will.
The problem isn't the message. For like Google and Facebook, the problem isn't they're trying to get their message out. The problem is they're trying to get ad revenue.
Yeah.
So they were making up bullshit stories to get people
for like
who
clickbait.
were right. They were making clickbait
was
stories,
real clickbait. Like there isn't a news article behind
It's
that.
two different things.
or they were creating a fake news article, making it look legit, and saying things like the Pope supported Trump is the one that comes to mind. There was like 4 examples they used when I watched the story, and they made that article. It looked like a legitimate news article, but
Like
it was
it
created.
looked like an actual Fox News website type thing, or
But it was created specifically just to click the ads.
You'll see those companies like ABC.co instead of .com or some shit like that. Yeah.
well, Ben automatically questioned when we saw FoxNews.com. Fox, what was it?
FoxNews.com, because I said isn't that
It
just
should be
Fox.com
Yeah.
/news? But we double checked.
And Fox News is there. That's the Fox.
But
News
I just
website.
mean that's the.
But yes,
People should always double check. You should always check your URL.
people are too fucking lazy.
Or
That's part of the
or
problem.
it's confirmation bias.
Or
You see
exactly,
something
they
that
see
agrees
something
with you
that
and you share
yes,
without
even
considering
looking at it. You know,
And you should always look for. It's not that hard. All you have to do is actually read the article you're about to share,
and then Google some of the key points.
and first off, ask if it makes sense.
Yes,
Google the name of an important person to see if a legitimate news organization
has
has
covered it. Well, and at that point, what is a legitimate news organization?
Well, I look like me, for example. Let's look at the. There was one that I just looked at actually.
Because for everybody, a legitimate news source isn't going to be the same thing.
Okay. So, but it should be because words have meaning. So, legitimate news source should be.
Well, but something being a legitimate news source to me doesn't necessarily have the same qualification. Like, maybe I think Fox News is always right. I think they're a legitimate news source.
They are a legitimate news source, but they are not always right.
See? And that's the difference.
Well, but which is why you take it like they had that story about the lady whose son didn't have the inhaler. We may have talked about it, or it may have just pissed me off one day. And he died in school because he couldn't take his inhaler with him. Which happened years ago in Canada, and everybody's all upset. And I'm like, first off, I took the name of the lady and I threw it into Google, and then I clicked news up on top because Google will even show me the news.
Yep.
And then I looked to see if the name showed up, and I'm like, oh, this happened 3 years ago in Canada. Then I Googled the law, and I'm like, oh, the United States already has specific laws to stop this from happening.
So it's not.
So all your outrage is bullshit.
Your outrage is 3 years late and about the wrong thing.
And the last thing that you do.
Some inhaler story.
I was just talking about if you see a news story, at the bare minimum, you should read the story you're about to share. Take the names or the key points and Google them and click the little news thing up on top of Google to see if ABC, NBC, a newspaper that actually is in print, has it on their website. AP, Reuters.
I know. Well, and you said find a legitimate news source. I say find all the news sources and compare.
Okay.
That's how I look at it.
I look and I say do at least 2 other credible organizations carry this story.
Well, because like when...
Problem is we don't have any anymore.
Well, and then the last thing I do is I put it in Snopes. And I Snopes it. And see if they come up with something. And then I read their article to make sure that it has merit. Not because I don't trust the people at Snopes, but because they would encourage me to read their article and make sure it's sourced, and they source their stuff. And then I check the sources to make sure that they read it correctly.
That's like that exact same thing happened to me when it was like months, like 6 months ago, when there was a big story that was all over that Trump page about a giant group of immigrants. It didn't specifically say they were Muslim. Immigrants in Germany committing like thousands of acts of rape. That was in Germany, so there was only going to be a couple American news sources. So I went to a Wikipedia page of European newspapers and looked up all their websites and used fucking Google Translate to try and see what all the papers were saying, because I didn't believe the one article I saw. I had to have it confirmed by many sources.
Well, and then sometimes
nobody fucking does that.
If you see something like the latest one I saw was Ruth Bader Ginsburg said if Trump wins, she'd retire from the Supreme Court. Sign a petition to demand she does it and is true to her word. And I'm like, first of all,
she never said
if
that.
you fucking believe she said that, you're an idiot.
I was researching the shit out of that once I seen that.
I saw that and I'm like, there's no fucking way.
No.
I can't.
She's pretty smart, and that would be the stupidest thing she can do.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no way. No way. She may have said, if Trump wins the election, I'm going to look into how to cybernetically extend my life for 1,000 years.
Yes.
That I might believe.
That is believable.
I would believe if she said, if Hillary Clinton gets elected, I would retire.
Yes.
That I might believe.
That would make sense.
But Ruth Bader Ginsburg is not retiring when she knows there's going to be 1 or 2 conservative judges appointed.
Yeah. No, there's
the only way she's getting off that bench is if she dies.
Yep.
Well, that's both of them.
That's all 3 of them. There's 3 ones that are old.
But the two oldest ones are both liberal. Very liberal.
Yes.
And neither of them is going to retire.
No.
Fuck no.
Can't they be voted out of confidence? Like,
No.
The Supreme Court, you can't.
It's
well,
appointed for
like,
life.
what if they start showing like signs of dementia and stuff?
I don't think there's a way to get them out, as far as I know. At least that's never happened.
If they're showing signs of dementia, you would have to, I think, and if anybody watching, if we actually air this part, knows is a lawyer that would know
constitutional law.
But I would think you would first have to get them declared mentally incompetent.
We have Google.
And then, yeah, Google how to remove a Supreme Court justice. Can you remove a Supreme
Gone.
Court justice? And now you're on. No, because you're using my internet. Now I'm on a watch list. Now I'm on another watch list. By impeachment.
The only justice. Oh, so there was somebody who was
1805.
impeached.
So it's not something that they do often.
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact.
Right, because
210
because he was then acquitted by the Senate.
Oh, 210 years.
Well,
holy shit.
A lot of times, I'm sure that the people they pick aren't ones that are. I mean, if they were did a blatant criminal act or something, that would certainly be grounds for impeachment,
yes.
Right? Because I could see a lot of people getting upset over that.
But the thing is, you look at and it's the other side of our thing too. When I saw the article, Trump rolls back his plans on Obamacare, and I went, really? Google. Oh, son of a bitch! He did say maybe we'll just amend it because there are things that we want to keep.
There's two things he wants to keep, and really, they're the only two things
that
in the entire ant. Well, yeah, they can, but I'm glad they're keeping them.
Well, yeah, they're the.
We work for the companies. We know what they can.
Pre-existing conditions,
which is I'm big in favor of.
Yes, and then living up to 26 with your
which
parents.
I think is bullshit.
Isn't the mandatory thing they want to keep too? With the pre-X, that goes hand in hand with the mandatory coverage, doesn't it? Because otherwise, if
you can't deny someone coverage based on pre-existing conditions.
That's.
But can you deny a claim because of it?
No.
Well, yeah. No, they can.
No,
right, but doesn't
the law will make them pay?
The problem is
they do it all the
problem.
time. Right.
That's the problem. That's raising rates anyway.
Right, because so
it's whatever new plan comes are going to have the same problems Obamacare.
So if it's not mandatory coverage, I can wait till I'm terminally ill, then go get my insurance.
Right, but you can do that. They have to cover you.
Yeah, as of now, and as of supposedly after Trump gets it, because
so they're not keeping the mandatory coverage.
No, they
are. Those are the two things.
Well,
mandatory.
Okay, first of all,
they cannot deny coverage.
They're not.
Based on pre-existing.
Okay.
So you're talking about two different things
yes,
here.
We are.
Oh.
So mandatory coverage means that a plan has to provide for birth control, eyesight,
that's minimum standards. Like are you still going to be fined every year if you don't have insurance?
Oh, we don't know yet.
That's what goes hand in hand with pre-existing conditions.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Well, before the law, if you have a gap in coverage, that's what made you eligible for pre-existing conditions. Because if you had any sort of long-term sickness before you were covered during that gap, so
before
are they
the law, right?
Right. So are they going to go back and say, all right, you can't be denied for pre-X, even though you didn't have coverage during that gap?
Right.
Right. Well, that's what that means.
They did that before with Obamacare.
Right. Yeah, I know exactly.
The reason that you had mandatory coverage was to try and offset the pool, because if people like Eric don't pay in, then people like Eric or people like Pete and I who are old and falling apart, our health care is too expensive because not enough people like Eric were carrying insurance. That's why there was mandatory coverage.
Yeah.
Trump hasn't said he's going to keep mandatory coverage,
right?
But he has said he's going to keep it so that they can't deny you based on pre-existing conditions,
right? And then,
which means it actually will probably jack rates even more.
Well, no, it's not.
Well, unless you get rid of like the minimum standards, where Eric or myself, we could just get catastrophic care or fucking just something like if you absolutely need it.
Right. If that coverage is available, because the other thing that you have to remember is plan coverage is based on two things. First, what the insurance company is going to cover for their policies that they sell to individuals. And they're going to cover a broad scope of things. And second is what your employer chooses to cover. If you have insurance policy through your employer, to a very large degree, unless you have a very small employer, your employer is picking what's covered.
Yeah.
Right. Before they were.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there were certain mandatory minimums that were required, and I honestly think that most of them were good.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. He wants to create more competition. We're able to sell across state lines. So I'm sure there's going to be some insurance companies.
Large companies are selling across state lines.
That they're going to say, all right, well, this is like progressive car insurance. Go in here, pick the coverage you want. We'll give you a rate.
Well, actually, by being able to sell across state lines, what that'll actually do is broaden the group that they're insuring, so that'll spread the cost of that plan out more, which will make the plans cheaper in states that have smaller populations.
Yep.
Okay, so that's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Well,
and now they can't. So if you live in frickin' Montana
right.
or North Dakota, where there's probably like 6 people, I mean, they're screwed.
Well, and that's another reason they're going to have basic plans that say this is what's covered, because then 10 people in Green Bay pick that plan, 20 people in Pulaski, 100 people in Minneapolis, a 500-person employer down in Chicago.
Yeah.
If they have that set plan, they can expand the risk pool beyond just the people who work at CMC
well, that's
Schneider.
What insurance
or,
is.
right.
Spreading risk.
Spreading risk. Right.
Or the burden of risk.
Which should bring rates down.
But
yes.
the reason that I brought that up is when I first read that, I Googled it because I'm like, well, really? When he said he might roll back the wall. What?
Because the headline was Trump does away with plans to repeal Obamacare, and then I read that article.
Well,
even
even in
those 2 lines.
Right, even in the article I see where people are like screaming in the comments, I look at it, I was like, it says
did
flat
you
out.
read
There's
this?
only 2 things
like,
that he's.
Yeah, it's not he's gonna.
Yeah,
not
and the wall
repeal
thing
it.
was he said he might not build a wall everywhere.
Entirely.
He might put a
Part of it
fence
could
in
be
places.
fence. Yep.
Which is still kind of a wall.
Which is a wall with holes
we
in
have
it.
a fence over most of it.
Well, how's that wall going to get 10 feet higher if it's a fence? Goddamn
Exactly. Well, what I want to know is when I go down there in like 5 months to get my construction job, because that's a big fucking wall that needs to be built.
Right.
We need a lot of people. Am I getting paid in pesos or American dollars? Because Mexico's paying for it.
No, Mexico's not paying for it. The peso ain't worth shit.
Oh, did he change his stance now?
They can't. Look at the value of the peso.
I know the peso's dropped like horribly.
Well, no, he's going to hire Mexican labor.
Oh, Mexicans taking away jobs from Americans.
Well, the wall's going to be on the Mexican side, just right at the end.
That was another point that I think John Oliver brought that up in the wall episode he did. Like, which side, where's the wall exactly gonna be?
If you build it where the fence is,
it's on American soil.
50 miles this side of the border,
which means fucking 50 miles of our land is on the Mexican side. Which, go fuck yourself. That's America. Put it on this side of the wall.
The thing is, they can't, because otherwise you're building a wall over the Rio Grande.
Exactly, and you can't
for a large portion.
And you
of
can't obstruct
leave
the
it
wall.
50. Leave it on the American side.
It's not going to happen.
You can plant landmines on the
leave
other side.
it. Right.
Because
then they're on American soil, so they fall under our law.
But the American soil on the other side is golf courses. Not that I give a fuck about golf courses.
Condos and expensive buildings.
In that one part of Texas that they
went over. If we build the wall, they used to be. Just saying.
I think Trump owns some of the golf courses. I don't think he's building a wall to stop his own golf course.
They can't build on the Rio Grande because of some law that says you can't build on a water thing, like a water source or something, right?
How do you build a wall on a water source? Because that's a hell of an engineering feat.
Well, that's
in pontoons.
George Bush's wetland protection law, isn't it?
It's something like
that. They can't swim under?
There's some law in place that they can't impede the Rio Grande because...
We did...
Right, but that's probably our law.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So
it totally is.
How does that matter?
We can break it. Or get rid of the law.
Hey, Obama has already set the precedent. We can choose to enforce whatever laws we want. So we just won't enforce that one.
We did, and this was when I first moved to Green Bay, a couple of years after.
Yeah.
There's a canal, the American Canal down in Texas.
Okay.
Illegals were swimming across the canal, but they were carrying so much stuff they were drowning.
Okay.
We actually, Clinton era, installed ropes.
Make a bush. Oh,
we made guide ropes so that they could pull themselves across rather than drown.
Rather than drowning?
We're going to have to go cut them ropes.
So I'm like, and at the time, I was kind of a dick, and I was like, are you telling me that we had part of the border that was working? And
it was clearly working.
What the hell?
It's a natural border. That's a moat.
So, but
It's
there's
America's
we some
remote.
gators.
the wall's not going to. The wall wouldn't do any good. Anyway.
No, we already
They're
ladders.
tunneling.
10-foot ladders.
They're tunneling.
Did you see that video
El
with some
Jefe
Mexicans
gets away
training
with
to jump the wall where they had the ladders and the jumping and shit? No.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that was. I don't know.
I saw the video. That works really good as long as you have a hole that you can put your ladder in. That's exactly the same height every time.
Right.
Because again, that would be a pretty stupid engineering feat. I'm like, whoever designed that castle wall was an idiot.
Did you see that video with sound? Because I want to know if you could hear any voices, if it was actually in Mexico or something. Because that was clearly like a fireman's race.
I don't.
That was a fireman's
Yeah,
race.
it wasn't not real.
But I want to know where it was.
I
Because the
don't know.
guys looked really skinny and tiny. I thought they were Japanese. I'm like, I could see the Japanese doing shit like that. That would make sense.
Well, I could just put metal bars on
Why,
windows
why,
anyway.
why don't they just go around the wall? It's the same
Oh,
question.
yep.
The same question I've been asking since I started watching Game of Thrones.
Yep. Go around the wall.
Go around the wall. There's space.
Like, it's a
Navy.
wall. There has to be an end, unless it's a circular wall.
Coast Guard will stop
End to
that.
it.
Just real close to the wall. Then you're
Very, very
then
close.
you're
Like,
too
right
shallow
around
for a
the edge.
Coast Guard cutter to get in. Just like walk up to the wall and just hold it and hug it as you swing around and go, American soil, hit it.
Done.
That's-
Safe, base.
Right.
That's where the border patrol stations are.
Oh, they're going to be all over the wall.
Like get just like a little boogie board and run along
There's
the wall on
another
the
job that I
Mexican
could
side
get.
and
Border Patrol.
skim in. Hang glider. Kite. A really big kite.
A very big kite. Catapult and a kite.
Catapult and a kite. There you go. Parachutes.
Or they just need to find Mexican Tom Brady. Who's fucking throwing them.
They'd have to deflate all the Mexicans.
Oh, true. Damn.
That was
No,
a,
you ate too many tacos.
that was a social media thing.
Yeah, what story was that? I don't know where the fuck we came from with that one.
Uh,
oh yeah, it was
alt-right.
it was the Twitter
It was
thing.
Twitter.
It was this thing about shutting down.
So anyway,
do you give fucks?
I don't actually give fucks about the story.
I don't use
Because
Twitter
it's-
anyway.
Well, I don't use
I don't
Twitter
use
either.
it,
But
yeah.
even with the social
I'd
media
rather
like
just talk
Google,
shit.
let me rephrase that. I actually give 2 fucks that Google
Okay.
and Facebook are not selling ads to fake news entities anymore. I think it's a little. I think it's late to come to that party.
Yeah.
Because way too many fake news stories have been shared in the last year and a half
Yeah.
by everybody.
Yep. I give a fuck because mostly about the Google and AdSense or Twitter. More about Twitter doing their thing because they, like I said, fully shut out a group of people from using their service where Facebook and Google is saying you can use it, you just won't make money off of it. On both sides, I agree that that's totally their right. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Go to MySpace if you want to, do your alt-right shit. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I'm gonna give 3 fucks because that's gonna decrease the amount of French pepes.
Yeah. Cutting into your memes, bro.
And then as far as like the ad selling, I'll go with like 2 fucks for that because whatever.
Yeah, it's their right.
It is, but who's to say? What if it's like obvious satire? They're not gonna allow that anymore.
No, the Onion still gets to go.
Does it?
And that's where it
Oh,
comes
well, that's good. Like if it's obvious satire, yeah, go ahead.
and that's where it comes to Google and Facebook. They have the say.
Right.
They're the ones who are going to be filtering it. So what they deem as a fake news site will be a fake news site, and they won't get to serve ads.
Okay.
Which, yeah, Pete.
I really don't care
Yeah, that's what I
on
figured.
any.
Nah, that's what I figured.
If you like what you just saw, why not check out our last episode? Or subscribe, or like, or comment. Do something.